Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Self-Care for Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Honor your emotions, nurture yourself, and live with confidence. By Lindsay C. Gibson, Doctor of Psychology. Narrated by Rachel Perry. Introduction. Life skills you were never taught. This is a book to keep you company on your journey to self-discovery. Pick it up as a reminder to self-engage whenever you feel pressured to ignore your own well-being. If you had emotionally immature, EI parents, you were probably expected to put them first. Nurturing and being true to yourself are not things that EI parents usually teach their children. Your parents' vulnerabilities and distortions, which I describe in my previous books, meant they couldn't show you how to sense and feel your way to a solution that is just right for you and the circumstances. So I compiled these short pieces of insight to help you remember what you need to feel whole, confident, and to have your best possible life. This collection is designed to put you on a quest for self-awareness and fulfillment, to encourage certain attitudes and practices to make life easier and more enjoyable. I wrote these pieces to give you encouragement whenever you need it. The insights will tap that deep vein of authenticity that courses through you, so you can be more yourself than ever before. I want you to feel you are back in touch with yourself, honoring your emotions as you recall truths about yourself that may have been misplaced. There's no denying the thrill that comes when reading something that brings back a truth that had been lost from awareness. May you experience a spark of recognition as you read each piece, a click that says, "That's me," or, "Yes, I knew that," even though you're reading it for the very first time. These pieces on self-care, relationships, and how to approach problems will be the reminders you need to nurture your emerging self, to honor your inner world, and to protect yourself emotionally. In other words, they will encourage you to be true to yourself first. In previous books, I have explained the phenomenon of emotional immaturity instructively, teaching and guiding in a linear fashion. But please listen to this collection of short pieces meant to spark insight with a looser approach. Listen to them as you are inspired to, for brief, hopefully enjoyable observations and reflections that aim to give you confidence in managing your greatest challenges. We'll also try out new ideas and different approaches to help you move into harmony with your authentic self. This inner self is where you find peace, happiness, and deep self-confidence. It makes you feel good about yourself, and you'll realize that life and its challenges have meaning and messages for your growth. These insight pieces are grouped into sections on taking care of yourself, fostering relationship health, and confidently coping with life's challenges. These three areas are the gateways to a happier, more fulfilling life. In the first section, we'll look at how self-care is built on self-awareness. As you become more skillfully self-aware and active on your own behalf, knowing what you really want, you will feel more competent and life will feel more manageable. You will be able to trust your inner world and protect yourself emotionally. Next, we'll tackle the world of relationships and its challenges. We'll explore finding love and appreciating differences. We'll look at how to deal with difficult people, too. Interactions always go better when you know yourself and respond to others in such a way that you don't lose yourself. You don't have to give free passes for hurtful behavior or make excuses for other people's limitations. Instead, you can be realistic about them, admitting their effect on you, and stop making yourself responsible for their self-esteem and happiness. You alone get to decide how much time and attention you have to spare for difficult people. Fortunately, there are also kind and helpful people in life as well who make you believe in yourself and feel emotionally safe. As you experience their positivity and unconditional acceptance, it nourishes your inner strength. These delightful people show you that good relationships are supposed to be about mutual enjoyment and encouragement, instead of one person's enhancement at the cost of someone else's sacrifice. These special beings will point you toward love, trust, and honoring your feelings. In the section about parenting, we'll look at which attitudes and approaches work best with children. Many people with EI parents fear they might become EI parents themselves and don't want to do to their children what was done to them. But if you are a self-reflective person who understands a handful of essential things about children and relating to people in general, you needn't worry. Once you understand your own past and how you were treated, you won't pass that on to anyone else, much less your own children. And once you grasp the bigger picture about what children are here to teach us, you will learn from them in ways you never imagined. When you grow up with EI parents, having a difference of opinion or setting a limit is labeled as selfish and uncaring. You are taught that nothing short of sacrificing yourself will ever prove loyalty and love, and that to think about yourself is the same thing as abandoning others. You may also be taught that ordinary life challenges are unjustified, unfair, and likely to overwhelm you. You are taught by example to be afraid of anything you cannot absolutely control. But there's another approach to life that we will explore, one in which you can take care of yourself and handle situations with acceptance and skill instead of panic. In the last section of this book, you'll learn more productive approaches to life and how to cope with challenges. You'll see how life is showing you all the time how to accept its terms and deal well with it, if only you are willing to listen. You'll see how life keeps asking you to be active on your own behalf. With this approach to problems, you can see setbacks as calls to creativity and disappointments as prompts to consider anew what you truly want. When you see life in such positive terms, not as senselessly inscrutable, but as meaningful and supportive to your growth, you begin to understand that stress can be treated as a warning signal that you are getting off track. You can heed stress's message by slowing down, tuning in, and trusting your ability to sense your way through a problem and work gently with your fears so you create effective solutions. You are creating your life all the time. Will your life be a war against reality? A struggle against the facts, like it is for many EI people? Or will you try to make things easier, to be more straightforward, to start from the ending you want and work your way back to the beginning you're about to create? Will you be friendly with your mistakes and forbearing in those times when you can't see anything to be proud of in yourself? Those are the moments when life is asking you to be an artist, a really good one, who transcends mistakes and leaves spaces enough for creativity to breathe through the openings. You'll live your life more confidently and skillfully as soon as you start seeing it as your creation, instead of something that is being done to you. This book will activate new insights and build skills to make your life fuller, and you more friendly toward yourself. Its goal is to attune you with your own authenticity and the wisdom of life. These insights will activate a search in you at a deeper level for the real you, a self-reflective process that will make change easier than you imagined. If you've gotten out of sync with yourself, don't despair. If you've gotten tangled up in inherited issues from your parents, tiptoeing around their vulnerabilities by making yourself tentative and small, you can change that. If you've learned to judge yourself, you can quit it. None of these things has anything to do with the true nature of you. You were not made to be confused, guilty, or judged. The only sensible question in life is what you're going to do with what you've got. The true nature of all life, including yours, is that it wants to go in the direction of expansion, thriving, and more life. But you may have learned to hold yourself back out of love, loyalty, and fear related to your childhood attachments. Others may have set conditions on what is necessary for you to be worthy, when actually, you were worthy all along. Once you are more self-aware and back in touch with yourself, guilt and distortions just won't stick anymore. They will slide right off you because they no longer make sense once you are aligned with yourself, your life, and the right kind of people. You'll realize life is not out to hold you back, and you are not selfish for being self-protective. You are not uncaring because you got tired, and nobody has the right to tell you what you should think and feel. These are mistaken beliefs that violate your basic rights and that you can drop as soon as you're ready. The insights in this book will prepare you for that day when pleasing others is just a nice thing to do, freely embarked upon, and not a begging for the goodness that was yours anyway from the beginning. Here's to your new life, where you take good care of yourself like a proud, devoted, mature parent. Here's to your confidence that it is safe to be who you are. May you find relationships with kindred souls and look upon life as a challenging game that yields to your right approach. If these pieces of insight turn out to be your worthy companions in this process, no one will be happier than me. Part 1. Protecting and caring for yourself. Be true to yourself. If you grew up putting others first too much, you may end up living a life of reaction rather than one of fulfillment. Instead, you can learn to become your own champion and protector, valuing and supporting who you are on the inside. The self-awareness you gain will center and ground you in your true self. Finding your authentic self is an enlivening process that keeps on giving once you resolve never to misplace it again. 1. Build a better relationship with yourself. Be as available to yourself as you would be with someone you love. Your relationship with yourself is the most vital relationship you have, essential for real connection with other people. Knowing yourself and appreciating what you find there make you become a fuller human being, better capable of understanding and loving others. Unfortunately, you may neglect this inner relationship if you grew up in a family that discounted your inner world. In childhood, when people invalidate or dismiss your inner experiences, your inner world seems unworthy of being taken seriously. If others won't listen to your deepest feelings, you start tuning out what goes on inside you. You learn to turn away from the rich inner world that could sustain you regardless of outer circumstances. People who have disconnected from themselves discount their feelings by saying things like, "I know this is stupid, but," or, "This is such a small thing, I'm embarrassed to admit it." Their attitude toward their inner experience is full of shame. Not trusting their inner guidance, they are sheepish about their real feelings. But your inner experience is who you are. It's your job to notice and understand what goes on inside you. To be emotionally healthy, you need to be as available to yourself as you would be with someone you love. When you disregard your own feelings and thoughts, your inner world feels empty, and you start obsessing over other people and external circumstances. You then try to get other people to fill the vacuum left behind by your own emotional self-neglect. This further disconnects you from your inner world, reinforcing the false belief that security and stimulation can only come from outside yourself. Relationships become frustrating under these conditions because you're looking to other people for a validation that is already yours. No amount of social activity will fill the emptiness where there should be a robust relationship with yourself. When you judgmentally reject your true thoughts and feelings, you create a life of anxious dependency in which no power is greater than someone's opinion of you. Take your inner experiences seriously. Process them fully. Give yourself adequate contemplative time. Put your thoughts down in a daily journal. Write down your dreams. Learn to become familiar with your inner world through meditation. By doing so, you show dedication to yourself as worthy of being listened to and honored. It's the only way to build a strong inner self of your own. Watch and you will see how your inner world uses inspiration and intuition to nudge you toward happiness and well-being. Only by making a conscious, deliberate decision to honor your inner counsel can get you centered and self-directing. Once you start attending to your inner feedback, you know how things are really affecting you. Your authentic self will always let you know when you have gotten too far away from who you really are. Start paying attention and listening to this inner guidance. It tracks your inner state, updating you through your emotions, energy levels, and unexpected thoughts. It constantly monitors whether you are happy or not. It shows what's best for you by raising or lowering your energy as you consider choices. As your thoughts and plans line up more with the needs of your true self, you will feel light, energized, and uplifted. When your interest surges and you feel focused and intent, you are probably onto something that is right for you. Start paying attention and listening to this inner guidance. Conversely, if your energy sinks as you consider something, it's probably a poor match. A significant energy drop means there's little about the situation that feeds the real you. It would seem almost unnecessary to mention this, but it's astounding how often we feel our energy drop and yet proceed anyway because we tell ourselves it's the right thing to do. As most of us know, this usually turns out badly in the long run. You have the ability to flourish and nurture yourself as a human being. You can't be good to others if you don't value yourself first. If you feel guilty and put yourself last, you may secretly expect others to take care of you because you aren't doing it for yourself. But don't give in to the pernicious idea that others should be more attentive to your needs than you are. If you need more proof about the value of a good relationship with yourself, think about all the accomplished people who got that way by paying deep attention to their inner world. We grant that right to famous actors, Nobel scientists, great musicians, and world-renowned artists. Nobody ever questions if such people should be paying so much attention to their thoughts and inspirations, or if it's okay for them to safeguard their time and energy from other people's demands. We should do no less for ourselves. 2. You have the right to be here. Injuries to self-esteem come from feeling that your uniqueness was rejected. When someone mentions having low self-esteem, I think of that old cartoon with the man in the doctor's office complaining of a headache as he sits there with an arrow stuck through his head. The joke is that the headache is the least of his worries, and that is the same story with low self-esteem. People with poor self-esteem have a deeper problem than they think. Their deeper problem is that, somewhere along the way, someone has made them feel uncertain about whether they deserve to be here at all. There are countless people walking around, holding jobs and raising children, who continue to question whether or not they are entitled to be here in the first place. They never quite have that rock-solid feeling that they belong and are valued. They may think their roles and jobs are worthwhile, but they are not so sure about the inner essence of themselves. Yet all children come into this world with unquestioning self-acceptance of their needs, which is the root source of all self-esteem. A person with secure self-esteem knows the reality of his or her inner needs and knows that those needs are worthy of fulfillment. Doubting the legitimacy of these needs undermines the very foundation of one's self-worth. People with low self-esteem come into my office wondering, what's the matter with me? But I think instead, what happened to you? I think this because I know these people did not enter the world feeling flawed or doubting their right to be here. That is, not until they encountered the bow and arrow of another person's rejection or criticism. Ask yourself just who it was in your life that enjoyed archery so much. EI parents often carry quivers filled with debasing comments to shoot at you. Low self-esteem is exactly like going through life with a head full of their arrows. You cannot think without running into those internalized, sharp, piercing arrowheads. Injuries to self-esteem come from feeling that your uniqueness was rejected. People with low self-esteem carry this story in their body language. They are constantly trying to make themselves appear absent. Yet the longing for life and belonging is so strong that even arrow-shy people may one day question their low opinion of themselves. They wake up to their existential right to be here and to express what they need, finally overcoming their low self-esteem. It is up to each and every one of us to sit ourselves down and accept that because we are here, we are supposed to be here. Once you have settled that question for yourself and figured out who the archers were in your life, it is no longer just about improving self-esteem. It expands into the joys of self-expression and the right to self-protection. Self-esteem means you have decided you have the right to be here, and, on top of that, to enjoy it too. 3. A case of mistaken identity. Nobody finds it easy to be someone else. I always notice it when a person in therapy says, "That's just not me," or another favorite, "I'm not the kind of person who..." When people talk about themselves this way, I can hear the tinny echo of a distorted self-concept. Their denial just does not ring true. Instead, it sounds like a hand-me-down belief that the person took on about herself or himself, like something picked up at the flea market of other people's opinions. What such individuals are rejecting is a trait or behavior that doesn't fit their overly narrow concept of themselves. Maybe that tinny off note I heard was the sound of anxiety about stepping outside of their family's concept of them, imposed by EI parents. A rigid or easily threatened parent will make it very clear that certain traits and behaviors are bad and deserve rejection or punishment. At the same time, such a parent may show warmth or approval if the child acts in ways that the parent can relate to. When a child's nature is compatible with the parent's personality, there is harmony inside the child because the child fits nicely into the parent's expectations. The child feels secure being similar to mom or dad. Such identification allows for both connection and growth. But when children have to be something they are not in order to please the adults, especially EI parents, anxiety, shame, or depression soon follow. They start to feel like an imposter, or feel they never do things well enough. That is because at some level the parent has given them the message that they ought to be different than what they really are. These children must strain to fit in. Naturally cooperative, malleable children, which fits the description of internalizer children of EI parents, will try hard to convince themselves that they must be wrong because the parent must be right. These children form an identity based on what they think they should be. Traits that don't fit are disowned. Maybe this could work if it were not for the tremendous energy it takes to not be who you really are. The more you must please a parent, the less energy you have for mature self-development and finding your own path. Burying your true nature for the sake of family acceptance is both physically and emotionally exhausting. Your ambitions, attractions, interests, and dreams tell you who you really are. They pull you toward the things that give you the best return on your efforts. Following them increases energy, optimism, and hopefulness because they are inherently empowering. They may cause anxiety if EI parents disapprove, but just remember that anxiety is often the byproduct of growth. We all feel a little awed or scared when we try a new behavior. So if you catch yourself saying, "I'm not that kind of person," ask yourself, how do I know that? Is it true deep in your soul? Or is it because you were made to feel uncomfortable about those interests? Part of the fun of doing psychotherapy is watching people start to ask themselves these questions as they open up to being different from how their families saw them. There is nothing like the joy that comes up when you discover that your inhibitions and self-limiting beliefs were just a case of mistaken identity. 4. Be proud of yourself. Pride is the natural sensation of delight in growth. Nothing grows without delight. Green-thumbed gardeners know this, and so do parents who cherish their children. Showing delight in someone's growth gives the person fuel to keep trying. Good bosses do it, the best spouses do it, and we should do it too. Enthusiasm for our own progress is the most powerful motivator we have. Praise from others can be as big as a whoop of joy, or it can be as subtle as a softening of the eyes. But whatever form it takes, the person being praised feels proud he or she did it right. In childhood, praise guides the way, like a light along the path. There is no mystery to it, you just follow the smiles. Later on, you learn to give yourself that good feeling by feeling proud of yourself. Pride is the natural sensation of delight in growth. But all too often, healthy pride gets confused with narcissism. If you are proud of yourself, you might fear you will be disliked or taken down a notch. As a result, some people superstitiously deny pleasure in their accomplishments in order to ward off a comeuppance. Pride has even been labeled a sin, and acting conceited is a social no-no. Another practice that has given healthy pride a bad name is excessive pride for the smallest childhood success, from earning tokens in the classroom to the trophy glut at Little League. Many adults are turned off by this overpraise, sensing that the children are being done no favor. In fact, research has shown that many children overpraised for success end up becoming more cautious and less motivated than the kids who were praised only for their amount of effort, successful or not. However, if you as an adult are trying to make positive changes in your life, then you must notice and take time to feel good about even your smallest successes. To do so is just as important as figuring out what you wanted to change in the first place. You encourage yourself to grow, taking pleasure in your progress. The pleasure you feel tells your brain to keep strengthening these new tracks of changed behavior. Unfortunately, instead of noticing and celebrating your positive changes, you might tell yourself not to get a swelled head. Even worse, you may tell yourself that because you feel so good, something bad might happen, just to even things out. The brain then puts the brakes on that new outlook or behavior because your mind senses anxiety, not pleasure. Instead of dashing past your best moments, just when things are changing for the better, you ought to be asking yourself how you did it. If you don't analyze and take pride in what you did right, you will not know how to get there again, nor will you have the enthusiasm to keep trying. Analyzing how you got to a better place makes it more than a happy accident. You become conscious of a skill that you can hone further. Deliberately pausing to feel delight encourages more growth, but many people find it hard to feel proud of themselves for very long. They squirm and resist, minimizing the fact that their changes had a huge impact for the better. Many times, people do not think it's possible to really change, and they ignore the evidence of it as soon as they do it. Embarrassed to praise themselves, they undo their delight in accomplishment, insisting they are the same old people, which is exactly the way to guarantee they will stay the same old people. If you want to keep having good feelings and a better life, notice what you did right and make a point to feel good about each accomplishment. You are not being prideful or vain. You are learning to feel proud of yourself for well-earned success.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?